Welcome everybody to the first episode of Hammer Fist Sports here on YouTube. I'm so excited to come to you live here from my home in Pensacola, Florida. What an event we just finished with UFC 262 just wrapping up, crowning a new undisputed lightweight champion, Charles Oliveira. Wow, I'm still trying to catch my breath and from the excitement that just unfolded. You felt the energy into that event. It was really, really good from top to bottom. And I kind of feel bad for a lot of those empty seats that we saw at the arena today. It's a little bit shocking because I was really expecting this arena to sell out despite the Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards fight being moved. But nonetheless, for those who did purchase or were able to watch this awesome card, it was absolutely unbelievable. Here I am still trying to catch my breath, breathing so hard from all the screaming that I just got done doing. Man, but here we are. Charles Oliveira, UFC 262, dominated. I can't wait to get into it, so let's go right into it. Charles Oliveira dominates Michael Chandler in the second round after overcoming some major adversity in the first round. And, you know, they both really came out looking very confident. Charles Oliveira came out with his glasses on, which had me asking myself, how does he see once you take them off, right? So I don't know if he's got some kind of contact glasses situation where they both kind of blend in and work well together, but they both came out looking very confident. One thing that Michael Chandler did as soon as he entered the octagon was he just started stomping his foot, marking his territory. Sometimes I have an issue with UFC fighters who do that, because you see sometimes NFL players, they'll, celebrate a touchdown or a big play by doing some sort of acrobatic move or stomping their foot. Next thing you know, you've torn your ACL. I really don't understand, the risk, putting yourself in that kind of situation. But nonetheless, Michael Chandler looked absolutely phenomenal in the first round. I was really proud of what he was able to do and to put a guy like Charles Oliveira down like that. But my problem with Charles Oliveira, despite winning the championship, is his lack of head movement. And you saw it early, stiff as a board with his head. And I knew if Michael Chandler connected with him one too many times with that, Charles Oliveira could be into some deep, deep trouble. But he came out looking really good with his bottom game. At times I thought he was going to put away Michael Chandler, but he managed to get out and overcome the adversity. Let's take a look. What do we have watching this live stream? I'm kind of curious. Oh, okay. We got some comments. Who we got here? We got Zach. Hey, what's going on, Zach? Zack Sonim says, I like this guy. Nice hat. Thank you. I appreciate this hat. Actually, I got this hat, UFC.com, many, many months ago, and I bought one version of it. I've gotten so many compliments from this hat. I've had people drive past me, honk their horn, and just like, nice hat. And I'm like, all right, cool. So appreciate that. I haven't been able to find another one like it, but here we are. B. Muhammad, I don't know who this guy is, but a big, strong arm right back at you, broski. I appreciate your support. How did you guys think about the event tonight? It was awesome. With Charles Oliveira becoming champion, some people doubted him. Everybody was talking about Michael Chandler, talking up Michael Chandler. Here's this guy coming out, and look what he did to Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is middle of the road guy, and everybody's making a big deal about Michael Chandler because he knocked out Dan Hooker. Whoop-de-doo. Hey, nothing against Michael Chandler. Looked great in the first round. We could be having a completely different conversation had the referee maybe stepped in a little bit, because we've seen other fighters in that very dangerous area where referees step in like, okay, you've had enough. But I felt like the referees tonight in general, not just with the Oliveira and Michael Chandler fight, they were really generous tonight and just allowing the fight to play out a little bit. And I thought that was exciting. I don't know if they got a tongue lashing from the commission, or maybe that's a personal choice. Whatever that is, it's working. Yo, Rilla saying yo looking live. That's what we do, man. We're sitting here recapping UFC 262 live from Houston, Texas. I almost went to that. I was looking at tickets, I was considering it, thought about it, didn't do it. That's what's up, man. Yo, this guy's speaking facts. That's what we do. We just come out here speaking facts. UFC 262 live from Houston, Texas. Again, I just want to mention the fans. I did have the opportunity to go to 261 over in Jacksonville. And by the time preliminary fight, even early preliminary fights started, the very first fight of the entire night, we had about 60% capacity in that stadium. And I'm looking at the main event, and you're about a good 90%. I don't know what's going on. But I think a lot of people kind of chickened out of going to this event thinking, well, the Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards fight wasn't going to happen. But this event was awesome from top to bottom. Congratulations to Charles Oliveira being crowned the new champion. Another fight we had on tonight that was really cool and interesting. Beneil Dariush defeats Tony Ferguson. Guys, not only did Beneil Dariush dominate Tony Ferguson, but if you look into the eyes of Tony Ferguson at the end of the second round, this guy looked broken. His eyes, he looked broken. He knew there's no way in hell he can win this fight. You can see it in his eyes. And even as his coaches were talking to him, he didn't care. He wasn't tuned into that. He was gone. He was in a different place. Dariush post-fight conference was a little weird. Talked about different ideologies. I don't know anything about that. I really don't care, but he felt like he needed to mention it. But that's cool with him. Dariush was extremely impressive with his wrestling. Most of the fights I've seen of Dariush is of him standing up, finishing with these wild knockouts. We've seen that with his last several fights, and to see him actually wrestling, especially against a guy like Tony Ferguson, not trying to take anything away from Tony Ferguson at all, just absolutely manhandling him and showed just really good grappling work. Very excited to see where Beneil Dariush goes with his career after here. I think it's important to not get too carried away with him. I still feel like there's a lot of holes in his game. But big congratulations to Beneil. If you don't know about Beneil, he is from Iran. He is a devout Christian from Iran. I don't know too much about his background, but so it's really nice to see guys from other cultures come into the UFC and get some big wins. Believe it or not, actually, Iran produces a lot of excellent wrestlers. So if you ever heard of the wrestler named the Iron Sheik, but, obviously not WWF style wrestling, but he was once back in the 60s and 70s, the world wrestling, champion of Iran, real wrestling, not professional wrestling. And he was actually known as a really strong guy and worked for the Iranian government or regime and was there as a bodyguard, ended up escaping Iran. But if you ever get a chance, you haven't heard the story of the Iron Sheik, you should absolutely definitely check it out. But Iran's producing a lot of great wrestling or wrestlers. A lot of politics going on there, especially with their wrestling program and their wrestlers dying. But I'm not trying to get into a political rant. We'll save that for a different day. Anyone in the Hawaii area? Some guys are trying to hook up here. Tony needs to retire. Yeah, Bassam, that's a really good point. 3-fight losing streak, lost to Justin Gaethje, got dominated by Charles Oliveira, and now Beneil Dariush. Habib said it. He was spot on when he said that, once a guy loses the way they lose and the manner that they lost, especially, referring to the way that Ferguson lost to Justin Gaethje, Habib said you don't come back from that. You don't come back from that kind of a beating. 5 rounds of beating. And it would have kept going if the referee hadn't stepped in. And you don't come back from that. And unfortunately, Tony Ferguson won't come back from that. He was a broken man. Ehab is coming in to chime in. He knew he was right about very little fights today. He's not really good at calling fights, but Habib did call it. There you go, reading my mind. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to read your mind. I'm here to read the little tea glasses, predict the future, and what that's all going to entail. There were some other good fights that were on tonight. You had Matt Schnell versus Rogero Bontorin. I'll be honest with you, I knew absolutely nothing about this fight going into it, but it actually turned out to be a really good fight. In my opinion, Matt Schnell, he has like the second fastest sub in flyweight history, and then you got Bontorin. Apparently, is a submission artist. 11 of his wins were submissions. He did come in a bit overweight. I felt like he dominated the fight. I had him winning all 3 rounds, 30-27. I agreed with the judges' decisions. He led in strike accuracy. He led in significant strikes. There were moments where I felt like Schnell had chances to kind of take control of the fight, but Schnell kind of reminds me of Cody Garbrandt. Just I'm laughing at Ehab. Attacked me. Yeah. Hopefully this video goes viral because of that. Schnell reminds me of Cody Garbrandt. Just a very frantic fighter, just swinging away and hoping that something catches. And that's kind of a lot of what I saw. You want to match up a fight? Put Cody Garbrandt and Matthew Schnell. There you go. I'll book you the next fight. That turned out to be not too bad. Still, none of these fights really were my fight of the night. Besides Oliveira Chandler, the only other fight of the night that I had for me, I would put number 1. You had Shane Burgos versus Edson Barbosa. Wow. That was an absolute wow. I've never seen, I think I was the first person to recognize that we've never seen a knockout where there was such a delay before ever with somebody dropping to the ground. A moment for our sponsors. Nestle Pure Life. If you're not drinking Nestle, you're not living a pure life. We got to pay the bills, guys. Nestle Pure Life. Fight of the night for me, Shane Burgos, Edson Barbosa. Shane Burgos came in there with the highest strike rate in the featherweight division, second highest takedown defense, finished the last 10 of his 13 fights. That's absolutely incredible. Against Edson Barbosa, who, by all means, I bow down to Edson Barbosa. I've never seen anything like this guy. He's a knockout artist. He's the only fighter to ever have knockouts via body, head, and leg. Never heard of anything like that before. And I've never really seen this guy fight in this type of condition. Is it just me, or is he in the best condition of his career? I'm really excited to see what's next for Barbosa. If I had to do more of these bookings, I would put Edson Barbosa with Yair Rodriguez and see how that fight goes. I think Rodriguez is one hell of a fighter. He's a little bit emotional, but him and Barbosa, I think, would be a great fight, and I'm going ahead and put my money on Barbosa right now. Seeing what these guys are arguing about here. Rosa Ray, my man, my compadre, one of my all-time favorites, one of the GOATs. Rosa, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your support. Can't wait to see you guys. What about Zabit? Zabit has a fight coming up soon. I can't even remember who his opponent is. It's that week. And to be honest, there was that talk for a while about him retiring, but he got booked a fight. In my opinion, it seems like here's a fight for you. He's a nobody. He's somebody you can just knock around and beat up and kind of build up your marketability again. I don't know what's going on, Zabit. Yeah, we do need to see him back in the octagon. I think it's just a matter of time before he does. I mean, that fight's already scheduled, I think, even for August. The other fight on the main card, Katlyn Chookagian and Viviana Araujo. I thought Katlyn did a really good job of keeping the distance with her long legs. She did a good job of kind of keeping Araujo away from her. But when Araujo did connect and kind of took her down, she really didn't do much with it. I wasn't really too excited about this fight going into it, but I think it turned out to be okay at the end. I had Katlyn Chookagian winning rounds 1 and 3. Araujo, yeah, I'll have to get better at that one. Had her winning the second round. I mean, she really gassed herself in the second round, especially when she was on top control. Once she got back up, she was, couldn't do really much after that. Aside from the main card, there were some other really good fights. Ronaldo Souza versus Andre Muniz. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a leg snap live before, like I did with Chris Weidman at UFC 261 live in Jacksonville when I was there. I saw it right in front of my face. I saw him, I was in the 6th row, saw him throw that kick, saw it break, saw him land on it, saw him the whole thing. And then seeing this live and seeing how Muniz just grabbed his arm and put him in an arm lock like that and just boom, snapped his arm. Interesting thing is Muniz said to Souza that he is the best grappler and that he's a better grappler than Souza. And I think Souza took that to heart. I think that upset him. And you can tell because he was coming after him pretty aggressively. And for Muniz to do this to Souza, to do this to Jacare, to break his arm like that after calling him out and saying, I'm a better grappler than you, you deserve a bow. Hammer Fist Sports, bow. That's 2 bows today. I don't do that pretty often. Muniz, you get a bow. Incredible, incredible fighting. The guy has a 21-4 record now, 84% win percentage. I think it's time to move this guy up a little bit. I did see a funny tweet tonight that said that Jake Paul is willing to box Souza tonight. I think that's pretty funny. I honestly think we need to stop talking about Jake Paul. I think he's bringing a lot of unnecessary attention to himself from the wrong group of people like UFC mixed martial arts fighters. You can't go around boxing nobodies and expect to not come across the wrong person. And it's going to happen. It's unfortunate that Jake Paul is such a big draw the way he is. And honestly, I blame a lot of the responses that these fighters are giving to Jake Paul. A lot of this attention, I blame that on Dana White. Because had Dana White been paying his fighters, not necessarily on the level of the NFL, not on the level of Major League Baseball, not on the level of even boxing, but to pay them enough to where when a jokester like Jake Paul starts threatening your pound-for-pound champion in Kamaru Usman, and Usman is on Twitter responding back to him, that makes your sport look very small. UFC fighters, if you want to earn money in your sport. Earn money in the company that you are working for. Do that. Work your way into earning more cash that way. Trying to get a cheap fight with Jake Paul just to earn extra money, it's not a good look. I personally don't like Jake Paul, not like on a personal level, but I personally don't like his antics and what he's trying to do with mixed martial arts. Is he good for boxing? That's a completely different story. That's a completely different debate. I think he's bringing a lot of attention to boxing. One would argue he's bringing a lot of attention to mixed martial arts. Nestle, Pure Life. If you're not drinking Nestle, you're not living a pure life. Hopefully we'll get that sponsorship. B says, Hamzat can take Habib. Did Hamzat say he can take Habib? I didn't hear that. I don't know why he would say that. Sounds like something that's made up. The internet made it up. But if Hamzat and Habib were to ever fight, I think Habib would destroy him. I think Habib is done fighting. I think Habib is enjoying eating cheeseburgers because that's what he loves. He loves cheeseburgers. He has a school where he has a bunch of students that he gets to train and he gets to develop on his own. I don't think Khabib is ever coming back to the octagon. And you know what? I like it at 29-0. I don't want it to change. So why take that risk? Not even a risk. You have nothing to prove. What's with the judges 30-27s for different fighters in the first fight? You're talking about the first fight of the main card? And well, no, first fight of the main card, Shane Burgos was a knockout. Yeah, there were a couple 30-27s today that I didn't really agree with. There was one fight I didn't really understand. The Mike Grundy versus Lando Venata, winner by decision. I had Grundy winning the first 2 rounds, but somehow they gave it to him by decision. I don't understand that. There was a lot of weird judging going on today. There's a couple of other weird ones. Oh, can we take a second to talk about Andrea Lee and Antonio Shevchenko? I didn't know anything about this Andrea Lee girl until I saw her walking in. Long legs, great physique, looked like she was in great shape. Antonina Shevchenko comes from a bloodline of champions. Her mother was a former kickboxing champion. Her younger sister, Valentina Shevchenko, needs no introductions. Women's champion, strawweight, I believe. Flyweight. Don't hold me to it. I don't remember Valentina Shevchenko's weight. The women's division always confuses me a little bit with their weight. But so this fight, I had my pick for Antonina Shevchenko. I'm a little bit surprised by how impressive Andrea Lee looked. She was absolutely fearless. Early first round, she hurts Antonina. Actually, late first round, she had her hurt. She had her backing away. One mistake that Andrea Lee made was she went and tried to take her down, which I didn't really understand. And I saw that happen in a couple of fights today where you had there was an opponent that was rocked and then they went for a takedown. I don't understand why you would do that when your opponent is hurt. Go after him. But Andrea Lee looked phenomenal. 12-5 record now, 70% win percentage. I think it's time to really examine her and give her some harder fights. Where does Antonina Shevchenko go from here? She's 9-3 now. I think maybe she's maybe got a couple more fights in her, and then I don't know, see where it goes. But I really don't see where she fits into the flyweight division. Was it the same arm he previous broke? Are you talking about Souza? I'm not too sure which arm he broke. Look, guys, I'm not here to keep up with whose arm got broken. I'm just kidding. Kevin Aguilar, Tucker Lutz fight. That was pretty good. Tucker Lutz, 26 years old. They're both, former Dana White Contender Series. Tucker Lutz, it was his first fight with the UFC. He was on an 11-fight winning streak. He finished 8 of his 11 fights, 6 of them with KOs. Aguilar, former LFA champion, finished 11 of his 17 fights, 9 KOs. I thought Aguilar had his moments. I had him winning the 3rd round. First and second round were Lutz, and that was called correctly. That was a really good fight. I think Aguilar's biggest mistake was also in the 3rd round, kind of like what we just talked about with Andrea Lee, where he had Lutz hurt and backing away and chose to go for the takedown. What an event, guys. It was awesome. I still, my heart's still pounding a bit from the outcome. It was so nice to see Charles Oliveira get that victory. And I just did not want to see this coveted lightweight championship that's been held by Khabib Nurmagomedov for so long. I just couldn't fathom, a guy like this, coming from Bellator, Michael Chandler, and thinking he can just come in and grab this belt. And Charles Oliveira overcame it. Got it done. So what's next for the lightweight division? What's next for Charles Oliveira? Seems kind of obvious. You got Conor McGregor. You got Dustin Poirier in July, live from Las Vegas. The third fight, the trilogy. I had Conor McGregor winning this fight. You asked me last week, I would have told you Conor McGregor. You asked me this week, I'm telling you it's Dustin Poirier. Why? What's changed? Nothing. It just seems like Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira is just destined to happen. I don't have any pure explanation, but just gut feeling. Dustin Poirier beats Conor McGregor, or Conor McGregor beats Dustin Poirier. They face Charles Oliveira. I think either Conor McGregor or Dustin Poirier is going to be a bad matchup for Charles Oliveira. Even worse than what Mike Chandler was in the first round. Conor McGregor, he's got that patience. He's got that speed. Dustin Poirier, he's got that wide body, tough, rugged. Sit there and bang with you all day. Boom, boom. And you got Charles Oliveira, can't move his head. Stiff. Early first round, it was just a matter of time before he got hit and dropped. But these jiu-jitsu guys need to start moving their heads or they're going to have a problem. And I think either Conor McGregor or Dustin Poirier win that fight. Guys, it was an awesome night. This about wraps up the very first episode of Hammer Fist Sports. We're going to bring everything to you. We're going to bring UFC. We're going to bring fantasy sports. You want to call me in? You want to ask me some advice about who you should draft, who you should pick up in free agency, who you should trade or not trade? And depending on which league you're in, some guys won't let you trade. Nope. They like to veto everything. No trades in some leagues. It's tough, but that's why we're here. Guys, I'm Yasser. Happy to be here. Come back and join me. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!